Today, I will talk about industrial pollution, types, effect, and control. The contents of this lecture include an overview of industrial product, list of some industrial polluting industries, poisonous gases which are produced by industrial activities. What are the poisonous gases produced by industrial activities? Classification of industrial waste, effect of industrial pollution, control of industrial pollution, and finally, the biological concentration and biomagnification. First, we will say an overview of industrial product. In our daily life, routine basic activities are mostly dependent on the use of some chemically synthesized product that include personal hygiene, toothpaste, cosmetic, pharmaceutical product, detergent, and many household cleaning product. So, in order to provide daily needs of the growing population, different types of industries are set up to produce different products. The industries use raw materials, process them, and produce finished product. Beside the finished product, a good number of byproducts are produced. Out of all the byproduct, if some are huge quantities and the processing cost is effective, the industrialists preserve the byproduct. If the processing of waste is a cost excessive one, then the industrialists throw the waste into the environment in the form of gas, liquid, or solid. The gases are usually released into the atmosphere. The liquids are discharged into aquatic bodies like canals, rivers, or sea, and solid waste are either dumped on the land or in aquatic bodies. In all the cases, either the air or water or land is polluted due to dumping of the waste. Here, I listed some environmental polluting industries. Till now, there are about 17 industries which are declared to be most polluting industries in the environment. These include caustic soda, cement, distillery, dyes and dye intermediates, fertilizer, iron and steel, oil refineries, paper and pulp, pesticide, pharmaceutical, sugar, textiles, thermal power plant, tanneries, nuclear power station, and food processing industries. Let us see what are the wastes produced in this industry one by one. The caustic soda industry will produce mercury and chlorine gas, which contaminated air, water, and land environment. Then the cement dust and smoke industry produces many particulate matter, which also contaminated air, water, and land. Then distillery water produces many organic wastes, which contaminated land and water. Fertilizer industry will produce ammonia, cyanide, oxide of nitrogen, oxide of sulfur, which mainly contaminated air and water. Then dye industry. It produces inorganic waste pigment, which causes pollution in land and water environment. Then iron and steel industry, which produce smoke, gases, coal dust, fly ash and fluorine, which contaminated air, water and land environment. Then pesticide industry. The pesticide industry will produce organic and inorganic waste, which contaminated water and land environment. Then oil refinery. This will produce smoke, toxic gases and many organic wastes. They contaminated air and water. Next, pulp and paper industry. They produces smoke and many organic wastes, which contaminated mainly air and water. Then sugar industry. They also produces many organic wastes and molasses, which contaminated land and water. Then textile industry. The textile industry will produce smoke and many particulate matter, which also contaminated land and water. Then tanneries. The tanneries industry produces many organic waste. This mainly contaminated the water bodies. Then thermal power. Fly ash and sulfur oxide are produced in thermal power industries, which mainly contaminated air and water bodies. Then nuclear power station. You all know the nuclear power station will produce radioactive waste, which mainly contaminated water and land. Finally, food processing industries. From the food processing industries, many waste such as alkalis, phenol chromates and many organic waste are produced. These waste contaminate water and land environment. Next, we will see the poisonous gas produced by industrial activities. The wide variety of pollutant, as told already, when enter into the environment and disturb the natural ecosystem, which affecting the biodata. Due to industrial activities, a variety of poisonous gases like nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, chloride, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfuric acid, and many other volatile compounds and dust are liberated into the atmosphere, which causes acute pollution problem in the environment. Also, the accidental leakage of poisonous gas can cause disaster. For example, methyl ionocyanate gas leakage from Union Carbide factory at Bhopal caused mass killing, which is known as Bhopal gas tragedy. In addition to accident, many of the above poisonous gas include depletion of ozone layer, creation of ozone hole, greenhouse effect, global warming, acid rain, destruction of movement and killing of living organism, disturbing the natural ecosystem. These are the some effect of the poisonous gas which are produced during many industrial activities. Next, classification of industrial waste. The nature of the industrial waste depends upon the industrial process in which these originate and the raw materials to be used. Broadly, the industrial waste may be divided into two groups. One is process waste, second one is chemical waste. Let us see process waste. The waste generated in an industry during washing and processing of raw material is known as process waste. The process waste may be organic or inorganic in nature, depending upon the raw materials used and nature of the industry. The organic process waste are liberated from food processing unit, distillery unit, paper and pulp industry, and sugar mill industries. The inorganic process waste may be the effluent of chemical industries, caustic soda industry, paint industry, petroleum industry, and pesticide industry. Both organic and inorganic process waste are toxic to many living organisms. The solid waste released by different industry can be divided into two different groups. That means process waste and packing waste. Since different industries use different raw materials, the quality and quantity of soil waste differ from industry to industry. The industries releasing the solid waste in the form of fly ash is dumped on the ground, which leads to soil pollution. Some amount of fly ash also contaminate the atmospheric tract, which causing respiratory tract disorders. Then some metallic industry produces a lot of solid metallic waste and large quantities of slag. In addition to the release of hazardous chemical pollutant, the industries may also cause thermal pollution and noise pollution. The thermal pollution is due to the release of hot water from industry into aquatic bodies. The noise pollution is due to running of heavy machinery producing a lot of noise. Next type, chemical waste. The chemical substance generated as byproduct during the preparation of a product is known as chemical waste product. The chemical waste include heavy metal and their ion, detergent, acid and alkali, and also various other toxic products. These wastes are usually produced by the industries like fertilizer factory, paper and pulp industry, iron and steel industry, distillery industry, and sugar mills. These are usually liberated into nearby water bodies like river, lake, sea, and sometimes into land. The entry of this chemical into the environment may alter the pH, biological oxygen demand, and chemical oxygen demand. Then, the loading of suspended solid, heavy metals, and their ion brings about a severe change in physicochemical nature of the water bodies. The aquatic animal and plant absorb, accumulate, and bioconcentrate the chemical waste, leading to biomagnification and finally destroying the trophic level and food chain of the ecosystem. This disturbs the ecosystem dynamics and ecosystem balance of the nature. Next, Effect of industrial pollution. A wide variety of pollutants which are produced by many industrial activities have an adverse effect on human health, animal health and plant health. Let us see what are the effects of industrial pollutant on human health. On human health, the industrial pollutant cause irritation of eye, nose and throat respiratory tract, and this activity increases the mortality and morbidity rate. Then a variety of particulate, mainly pollens, they initiate asthmatic attacks. Next, the chronic pulmonary diseases like bronchitis and asthma are aggravated by high concentration of sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide, also particulate matter present in the environment and photochemical smoke. Then, certain heavy metals like lead may enter into the body through lungs, may cause some poisoning. Next, the effect of industrial pollutant on animal health. In case of animal, the pollutant enter into two steps. One is accumulation of the airborne contaminated in the vegetation forage and prey animals. Then subsequent poisoning of the animals when they eat the contaminated food. In some case of animal, three pollutants namely fluorine, arsenic and lead are responsible for most livestock damage. Next, the effect of industrial pollutant on plant. Industrial pollution have a serious adverse effect on many plants. The major pollutant affecting plants are sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane, cyanide, ethylene, herbicide and peroxyacetyl nitrate. In the presence of pollutant, the healthy plants suffer from neurosis, chlorosis and abscission. Next, we will see how to control industrial pollution. The ultimate object behind the measure to control pollution to maintain safety of man, material and machinery. The implementation of control measures should be based on the principle of recovery or recycling of the pollutant and must be taken as an integral part of production. That means never as a liability but always an asset. Some important control measures are control at source, selection of industrial site, treatment of industrial waste, plantation, stringent government action, assessment of the environmental impact and strict implementation of Environmental Protection Act. Control at source involve the suitable alteration in the choice of raw material and process in treatment of exhaust gas before finally discharge and increasing stock height up to 38 meters in order to ensure proper mixing of the discharged pollutant. Then selection of industry site. The industrial site should be properly examined considering the climate and topological character before setting of the industry. Third one, treatment of industrial waste. The industrial waste should be subjected to proper treatment before to discharge. Fourth one, plantation. An intensive plantation in the region significantly reduces the dust, smoke and other pollutant which are present in the industrial area. Fifth one, stringent government action. Government should take strict action against industry which discharge higher amount of pollutant into the environment than the level prescribed by Pollution Control Board. Next one, assessment of the environmental impact. The environmental impact assessment should be carried out regularly, which intend to identify and evaluate the potential and harmful effect of the industries on natural ecosystem. And the last one, strict implementation of Environmental Protection Act. Environmental Protection Act should be strictly followed and the destroy of the environment should be strictly punished. Next, the last chapter, biological concentration and biomagnification. A pollutant present in the environment makes its entry into the food chain by producer. After the entry, these get accumulated in the cells and tissues. The primary consumers, when feed upon the producer, the pollutant deposited in the body of the farmer are transferred into the body of the primary consumer. In addition, the primary consumer may also directly absorb some amount of pollutant from the environment. This leads to an increase in the concentration of pollutant in the body of the primary consumer. Again, the primary consumer is consumed by a secondary consumer and the pollutant from the body of the farmer are transferred into the body of the secondary consumer where these get deposited. Thus, on moving along the food chain, it is seen that concentration of the pollutant become more in the tissue of the organism belonging to higher trophic level than the organism belonging to lower trophic level. Hence, the residual retention of the pollution is the richest at the higher trophic level. From this lecture, it is clear that the pollutant get magnified to a significant level because of the food chain link-up. Such type of magnification of the pollutant in a food chain mediated by biological agent is known as biological magnification or biomagnification of pollutant in ecosystem. Since man is omnivorous and can have access to different trophic levels of food chain, he receives the pollutant in large amount which become deposited in various tissue. This deposition of chemical in various tissue leads to many adverse effects in the human body. Better environment, better tomorrow. Save the environment to save the world. Save our environment to save our soul. Do your share for environmental care. Let's love our environment. Thank you.